Yay, perfect. All right. So once you touch the floor, we're going to just lie back and take a moment to see, does my body need a little bit of movement? Do you need a few breaths out the mouth to arrive? I just want to say if we hear knocking on the door, it might be Justine, so I'll let her see if she arrives in the next kind of 5 minutes or so. Just want to allow to give that container. And then see if and what props want to come in to support you as you arrive. So you might have a little support underneath the head or the legs with a bolster. For me, my knees want to be bent, and I'm just going to put the inflated slow-mo ball in between my thighs. So you take some time to see what's needed, and then just let your body take up as much space as it wants. So just checking in, do I have props beside me that I can move out of the way so that you can allow your body to express? Ah, let that sigh out the mouth. Ah. Feel how each time when we exhale out the mouth and drop into the floor, how we can feel the body receive that invitation to slowly unravel, to arrive, to find this awareness of being right here. And your breath will slowly find its own rhythm to breathe in and out of the nose, at times still creating space out the mouth. Mm. So we take a moment to feel the weight of our body on our mat, on our support that we've provided, and just see, does body need to adjust a little bit to find a little bit more comfort and ease? Mhm. And then just checking in to see it's arriving with you into practice. So are there sensations in body arriving? Maybe allowing space for those sensations to be here. Not trying to change it, but just a quality of listening compassionately. And then we're going to bring in the physiological sigh breath to just create a balance in the nervous system. And so that breath, we're going to bring it in on 2 sips of inhale through the nose, and then we're going to end with a pursed breath out the mouth. So we're going to take 2 inhales through nose and then purse the lips and blow the breath out the mouth through the exhale. Let's do that again. 2 sips of air through the nose and then purse the lips, blow the breath out the mouth. And then see, does that want to come in another maybe 3 a third time or a fourth time. And this breath, the physiological sigh, is really helpful to just balance out the nervous system. So sometimes when we feel a little bit more stress or anxiety, or we need to activate the sympathetic to create a little bit more energy in the body, we can use this breath to find this balance of homeostasis within. So it creates energy, it calms energy, so it works with balancing our sympathetic and our parasympathetic nervous system. And then we're going to very gently just let the head turn from side to side. So you're going to inhale, and as you exhale, just turn the head to one side. Let the ear come towards the shoulder, towards the floor. And then just exhale and just relax the shoulders, relax the arms a little bit more. And then when you're ready, inhale and roll your head back. So you feel the back of the skull on the floor, the gaze looks up. And then as you exhale, turn your head to the other side to just allow the ear to move towards the mat. Relax the shoulders, heavy shoulder blades. Might even find the upper and lower teeth separating. And then inhale, bringing the head back up to center. We're going to do it one more time to each side. So we're just going to exhale. Feel the breath as you stay there, and then just let yourself be guided on an inhale back to center, and then come to the other side. Good. And as we come to center, take a moment to check in. If we have any support in between the knees, we can release that. If we have a bolster underneath the legs, that's fine. We'll just leave it there. And we'll just take a moment to stretch the arms up and elongate the legs down. So if you have a bolster, you can just rest your thighs on top of the bolster. And we're just going to do a little tension and release as we do. So just create some tension in the body. And then as we exhale, let it go. Ah. And then we'll do that again. Inhale, create some tension. And then exhale, let it go. Ah. And then one more time. If it resonates with you, creating some tension. Good. And then exhale, let it go. Ah. And then we're going to bend the knees, release the bolster out from behind the legs if it's there, and just draw the legs up towards the body. So you can have hands on shins or hands behind the thighs. And we're just going to rock a little bit from left to right, just massaging the lower back. And then we're going to circle. So we're going to allow the legs to circle away from you. And that's when you might bring in your inhale. And as they circle out and around back towards the body, you're going to exhale. And then you can inhale, circle away. And then exhale, bringing the legs towards you. And just feel yourself rolling, letting this become your own as we pair the movement with the breath. Good. And then you're going to reverse it when it feels right for you. Exhaling towards you, inhaling away. Good. And then we're going to shake out the arms and the legs in the air and do a few ankle and wrist circles. So as the arms and the legs are extended in the air, you can wiggle fingers, wiggle toes. And then you're going to just start to draw a circle on the ceiling with the fingers and the toes. Just going a little bit slower as we focus on range of motion. Feel your breath just flowing in and out. And whenever it needs to, it releases out the mouth. But most of the time, it's going to be in and out of the nose. Good. And then we're going to go the opposite direction. And when that feels a little bit more complete, we're going to shake it out again. Good. And then we'll lower the feet to the floor. So we're going to take whatever you want for support in between the inner thighs. So that might be an inflated slow-mo ball. It might be the 4-inch block. And then we're going to let the arms go out to the side. So you can choose to have palms down. You can be the arms up higher in line with the shoulders, or you can lower the arms down so they come closer towards the hips. So you decide what feels good for you. And now we're going to inhale. And as we exhale, we're just going to do a couple squeezing of the ball. So I want you to root your feet into the floor. I want you to squeeze the ball on the exhale. And then I want you to feel your lower belly draw in and up. We're going to do that a couple times. So as you inhale, relax the squeeze and soften the feet. And as you exhale, root the feet, squeeze the ball, feel the lower belly lifted and up. Good. Now this time we're going to create an S sound with it. So as we inhale, we're going to soften. And as we exhale, we're going to do an inhale and then S sound. As we press the feet, squeeze the ball. Good. Just getting into the pelvic floor a little bit more. Inhale, soften. And then one more time with that S breath. Pressing the feet, squeezing the ball. See if you can feel the pubic bone lifting, the lower belly, the hip bones. You might even feel your lower back press into the floor. So just one more time. Inhale, soften. And then exhale, press the feet. S sounds. Good. And then as you inhale, I want you to exhale and squeeze the ball, the block, and see if you can lift your legs up and even bring in that S sound to float your thighs up towards your chests. Good. So you should feel your belly, your lower belly, so below the belly button, all lifting up. So as you lift the lower pelvis up, you can feel that your buttocks is just gently levitating up off the floor and the lower body's working in that lower core. So we're going to try to keep that. We're going to point the toes as we're in center. And then you're going to exhale and you're going to bring your legs over to one side and you're going to reach through the heels as you bring the legs over to one side. Your head may turn as well. And then you're going to inhale, try to keep your thighs as close to your torso as you can. As you bring your legs in center, point the toes. Good. And then exhale, and then you're going to reach through the heel. Yeah, good. Good. And some of you are putting a block in between the feet, which is really helpful too. Inhale, point the toes into center. Exhale, squeeze, reach through the heels. So some of you know this as core twists and point the toes into center and then exhale off to the side. Good. And now we're going to inhale, exhale off to the side and extend the legs in the air, reaching up through the heels. Squeeze the ball, maybe even the S sound. See if you can hold and maintain this for a breath as you keep your connection. And then bend the knees, point the toes, inhale through center. Exhale, pressing up through the heels as you squeeze the ball, using that lifting of the lower belly. And then bend the knees into center. We'll go one more time to each side. Exhale. Reaching. Yeah, good. And then pointing. And then reaching. Good. And then we'll release. Good. Take out the ball and just shake out your legs. Okay, and then we're going to do our little hip flow now before we roll over. So you're going to take your bolster and you're going to put it so it's supporting your head. And let's roll on to left side. And then you're going to have your inflated slow-mo ball as well. So we're going to put it in between the inner knees more. Sorry. And then you're going to take your 4-inch block and put that in between the feet. Oh, sorry, G, didn't realize that you didn't have something. Okay, so the block, 4-inch block in between the feet. Yeah, got it. And then the slow-mo ball in between the inner knees. Good. Now, you want to know that your lower leg is heavy and that one stays stationary. And your upper leg, which for most of us is going to be our right, and our pelvis is the one that's moving. And this is not a very large movement. So you're gonna feel, you can even put your right hand on top of your right thigh, and you're gonna feel the right hip, right leg slowly moving forward along the ball. And then you're gonna draw that right thigh hip back. And try to come, when you come back, try to come back into neutral. So try not to go too far back. Okay, so then you're sliding forward. You'll see your knee and your leg kind of shifting forward in front of the lower leg. And then you're just going to try to come back and line up the inner knees, thighs, pelvis. Okay, so you might inhale as you slide forward, exhale as you slide back. You choose what your breath wants to do. You can exhale forward and inhale back. We're just mobilizing the communication of the ilium and the sacrum on the top legs. We're doing right side right now. Yeah, there we go. So it's just the right leg moving forward and back. It's not a huge movement. Just feeling as we're creating a little bit of space on the right side. So we're going to do that just for a few more breaths. Yeah, and then we're going to work the glute medius, the internal and the external rotations. This is a flow that we've done before. So you're going to take the block that's in between the feet out, and then take the slow-mo ball that's out. And then you have a choice with the slow-mo ball. You might take the slow-mo ball if you want and put it behind the back of the thigh of the right leg and the calf. Okay, so you're squeezing it. And then you're going to bring the right leg up. So the knee points up towards the ceiling. Yeah, there it is. And you're squeezing that ball. Then you're going to leave the shin and the foot quite high, and you're just going to try to bring your inner thighs together. So that might be your inhale. There it is. And then when you exhale, you're going to try to point your knee towards the ceiling. There it is. Good. Inhale, bring your inner thighs together as you leave your shin and your foot up in the air. Good. Exhale, externally rotate as the knee points up towards the ceiling. So you're just going to go back and forth. Inhale, inner thighs, inner knees touching. Yeah, good. And exhaling up. There you go. Great. Thanks. Good. So you might notice, one of these feels a little bit easier, the movement, than the other. So we're just going to do a couple more times. Just trying to balance out this glute medius muscle. The front part does the internal rotation and the back part does the external rotation. Yeah, just feel a couple more rounds. You're going to start to feel this coming in the part of the buttocks that maybe most needs. It might be a little bit more towards the back. It might be more towards the side. It might be a little bit front, closer to the hip bone. Good. And then you're going to pause. You're going to just shake out that leg. Let's take the right hand, take the slow-mo ball out, and just tap a little bit. So tap through the leg, the hamstring. Wait, let the leg come down and just take a moment to tap through the hips. You can do soft palm or very kind of very soft fist on the hip. So just noticing that we've worked it, but we don't want anything to start cramping. So we're just going to let a little tapping come in just to let the fascia know that it can soften. And then just to give a really good shake out to the leg. And then I want you to take the bolster out and roll onto your back. And you can have the knees bent, or you can straighten the legs for a moment. And then just see, how do I feel from one side to the other? So I want you to feel the whole leg. So the back of the hip, the outer hip, the thigh, the knee, the shin, the foot, your ankle. And then just feel how the other side feels. Might even feel a little release that came in through the lower back. Maybe even the right shoulder blade is resting a little bit heavier on the floor. Good. Then we're going to roll over to the right side. Right. And we're going to do the sequence to support the right side of the body. So as you're leaning on right side, you're using the bolster to support the head. Okay, the block is in between the feet. The slow-mo ball is in between the inner knees. And then just take your time. You'll start to roll that top leg forward and back, and you'll feel that movement coming into the hips. So just notice what feels good for you in the backward motion. We are separating and creating a little bit of space and ease and fluidity of the communication of our ilium and that downward pointing triangle, which is our sacrum in the pelvis. So it creates the pelvic bowl. And so sometimes we get a little bit sticky here because there's a lot of fascia and connective tissue. We're just letting that top leg slide back and forth. Oh, just let your breath sync up. And just know that it's a easeful flow of movement that resonates with you. So you might have one SI joint that speaks a little bit louder than the other, or you feel one hip does. We're just going to do a few more breaths here. You can even pause if you feel the movement's complete. And then you're going to release the block. You just let it drop out from in between the feet. Take the slow-mo ball as you lift that left leg up and pop it behind the back of the thigh and knee. And just remember, sometimes we wear slippery pants and this doesn't work. So you can also do it without. And then you can reach through that heel. Okay, and then you're going to feel that exhale. And then the inhale is the inner thighs and the knees coming to touch of that thighs with the left shin and foot staying in the air. And then you're externally rotating the leg. Now, watch that you don't roll too much back onto your back. Just see if you can get the movement happening specifically through the hips. So just notice if the torso is trying to help by rolling back to let the knee point up. You're just trying to get into your true range of motion here. Yeah, there you go. And in time, that will release. Good. Yes. Hmm. You got it, Mom? Hmm. Try to keep that shin and foot up in the air. So keep your knee down and your shin and foot up. There it is. See, inner knees together. And then bring the knee to point up towards the ceiling. There it is. It doesn't have to go all the way up. Yeah, there it is. There's your internal. That one's a little bit harder for you to do. Okay, so you do as many rounds as you want. This is one that I do probably a couple times a week for myself, just to keep my hips communicating and working. So remember, when you take the ball out, you're going to shake out the leg and then we're going to tap the leg just to release it. So you can use one hand, both hands, tapping inner thigh, back of the thigh, quad. You can stack the legs and take your left hand and tap the hips. So outer hip, back of the hip, through the sacrum if you want. You might even go down the iliotibial band. Good. And then just kind of end with shaking it out. Good. Now, just for reference, let's pull the bolster out and then just lie down once again, how we did before, and just check in. Just want to do a little check in just to see the difference. So you had a note of how the left side felt before the movement, and now you have a reflection on how it feels after. You just feel a couple more breaths. Good. And we're going to roll over to our right side, which is the easiest. And then we're going to come up onto our hands and knees and just create a little bit more movement. How could we feel from side to side? Do we notice? I know if I felt a difference. Yeah. I could really feel that I was a lot more even lying on the floor. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they were like more relaxed. Yeah. 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 That's great. Okay. So just coming on hands and knees. And we're going to do a little flow here. So you can do as much of this flow as you want. So remember, as your hands are under your shoulders, you can decide if that doesn't feel good, then you're going to put your elbows under your shoulders. And then we're just going to go back and forth through a spinal wave. You can have top of the feet on the mat. You can even tuck the toes under. So as we exhale, we're going to start with that flexion. So the sit bones round down, the lower back rounds up, the shoulder blades widen, the hand releases going in flexion of the spine. And then we go into extension. So sit bones, lift, lower back, arches, shoulder blades squeeze together, neck and gaze, coming a little forward. So just flow back and forth, warming up the spine, maintaining flexibility of the spine. And then we always bring in the flow and the variation here. So you can go into a little barrel rolling here if you choose, whether you're on elbows or on hands, and you're circling the spine up and around. So just start with this first, and just imagine the spine is kind of jumping on a skipping rope. We're rolling around in a jar. I kind of always think of it as like, in a knife when you're trying to scoop out that last bit of peanut butter and you're rolling around in the jar. Getting all that peanut butter. Go the other direction as well. Hmm. And then we're going to find a little bit more openness in the hips. So we're going to widen our knees a little bit more and bring the big toes towards one another. Then we're going to inhale, shift the whole body forward, and then exhale, let the pelvis come back. So it's going to circle around. So it's going to meet one thigh in between the feet, the other thigh, and then it's going to come forward. So you're drawing an oval around, and we're just letting the hips sink back as far as they want to. That serves through the knees. It's to find a little openness. Sometimes just widening the knees that little extra bit and bringing the big toes together, create some space. Then you can go the other side. And reversing that direction. Good. Then we're going to go as we pause right up into downward dog. So we're going to spread the hands nice and wide. Tuck the toes under, and then you might decide, oh, I need to move my hands a little bit farther forward. So they're about a half a foot or so in front of that. And then we'll inhale, exhale, reach the sit bones, the pelvis up towards the ceiling. Notice, do I need to have my knees bent? Do I want to walk the legs out, or do I just want to reach both heels towards the floor? As you reach the hips up, widen the shoulder blades. And I'm going to bring in a little strength flow. So you can choose to go into this or not. So it's totally up to you. But you're going to walk your feet back just a half a foot and bring the legs together a little bit more. And then you're going to inhale, exhale. See if you can lower the body in a nice straight line and come into plank. Yeah. Yeah, there you are. Yeah, perfect. And then you're going to reach your hips up as you press the hands into the floor and come back into downward dog. Good. And you might just feel, oh, I only just want to do one more. So then you lower the pelvis, torso down. Okay, you might need to shift your feet back a little bit as you come into plank and then reach up. And if that feels enough, then you just rest in child's pose. If you do want to go again, you can allow yourself to come into plank. And then option here, you can even lower to the knees and lift up through lower belly, upper belly, chest, heart, and even come into a little kind of upper dog. There it is. And then reach back up into downward dog. Good. And if you want to go one more time, I'm going to do one more. So we're going to inhale into plank, exhale. And then lower the knees, and then allow the pubic bone, the lower belly, the upper belly to lift as you lift up through heart. And then you're going to roll back into child's pose. You're going to soften, open and close the hands a few times. Walk the arms over to one side, just a little lateral stretch. So as the arms reach forward, the pelvis reaches back. Good. You're going to come into center, and then you're going to inhale, exhale to the other side. As you reach the arms forward, the pelvis sinks back. And then we're going to do a little release for the neck and the shoulders. So you're going to take your mat, and I always like to give a little bit more support for the head. So you're just going to take the upper part of your mat and just pull it down. So you're just going to fold it in half a little bit. So you want it about a foot to a foot and a half. So you might even sink back a little bit. Okay, option. You can have your hands in front of the feet. Sorry, in front of the feet, in front of the knees. And you're going to bring your forehead down. And so you might just stay here and just roll a little bit onto the forehead. Then you might inhale, exhale, just roll a little bit more towards the hairline, and some of you might even come towards the top of the head. If you need, you can keep the top of the feet on the floor. You can keep the toes tucked under. And then you're going to inhale as you roll back onto your forehead. Take a pause or two. And then you can exhale if you want to roll towards the hairline or back onto the top of the head. And just flowing back and forth here. Just releasing through the neck and upper back. Releasing through the scalp. This is really good if we get really tightness in our scalp or our forehead or in our neck. And you just pause when you come down, take a moment. Just feel the body. And we're going to do a little twist here. So you can either be on the forearm, so you're going to undo your mat and just either bring forearms down or being on hands and knees. And I just want to do a little thread the needle. So we're going to start with left arm because it's closest to you. So we're just going to inhale. We're going to lift it up, and you might just follow your gaze by looking it up. And then as you exhale, we're going to thread it through so it's underneath the right arm. You're going to come part way down, and then we're going to do that another time. So you're going to inhale, Reaching up that left arm, open the chest, let the gaze follow. As you exhale, you're going to thread it through. And then we have one last time before we rest. So we're going to inhale, open that up. Really good for the thoracic spine as we exhale. Then you're going to try to let your shoulder come all the way down on the side of the head. Okay, your right hand can stay where it is. It can reach up and extend towards the top of the mat. Some of you may even want to do a little opening and reach the right arm up into the air, so fingers point to the ceiling, or rest the right hand, the back of the hand on your lower back. Just breathe here for a few breaths. Just releasing neck, thoracic spine a little bit more today. Good. When you're ready, if you've had that right arm on your back, you're going to bring it back down so it plants onto the floor. Press the right hand into the floor, come back up, hands and knees. Good. Now we're going to do our right side. So you're going to inhale, right arm up. Follow it with your gaze. Exhale, thread it through. You're not going all the way down because you're doing 3 in total. So you're inhale, reaching up. This is freeing on the thoracic spine. As you exhale, threading it through, you go at your rhythm. You're going to do one more. Inhale, reaching up. And then exhale, threading it through. And then you're going to pause there. So try to get that shoulder, that head. You can keep your left hand there. You can extend it towards the top of the mat. Or you can push your right arm, right shoulder into the floor to externally rotate. Reach that left arm up towards the ceiling or place the left back of the hand on your lower back and pelvis. There it is. Breathing here. Just releasing the head, the side of the scalp now. We're getting into the temporal bones and moving into the jaw, the side of the neck a little bit more, releasing the shoulder blades. We take 1 or 2 more breaths. And then you're going to bring that left hand down, press it into the floor, slide right hand back. We're going to go right up into downward dog. So we're going to shift our hands a little bit farther forward, tuck the toes under, inhale, exhale, walking it out, seeing how you feel. We're going to walk the feet towards the hands back to the feet, ending up in a standing forward fold. So equal weight on toes and heels. Letting your head go or even bending the knees a little bit if you need to just to support if you feel that you don't want to go down too far. If you want to do a little swinging or sway as you're in your forward fold, feel free. And now bend the knees and sit down into your chair pose as you slowly just bring the torso and the arms up, just staying into chair. So just sitting down. Yeah, feet are parallel. Good. Really press through all the toes, lean the inner heel, the outer heel. And then we're going to press down through the feet and we're going to reach up a little bit and then just see. Can we just feel the weight in our toes a little bit more and see if you can lift the heels a tiny bit up off the floor? Just a little bit. Yeah, good. And then come back down into chair. There you go. Good. Breathe, lifting the heart. Relax the shoulders. Now we're going to try that again. We're going to press down, reach through the toes into the floor and see, can my heels lift a little bit? Feel big toes, big toes, big toes, big toes. And then come one more time back into chair. And one last time all the way up. So we're just strengthening ankles and lower leg. So you press into all the toes. See, what does my heels want to do? They want to come up. Yeah, wonderful. And then release, shake it out. Let's do a few swinging twists. Maybe a couple breaths out the mouth. We'll slow that down. Okay, so you're gonna grab whatever you want to roll with. So you might have the dowel that you want to roll with. You might decide, oh, I want to use the two balls that are taped together. Maybe it's just a single ball, so you choose. And then feel that one foot press down into the floor, lifting up through the lower belly. So you may have found that S sound might have felt really good today. See if you can bring up the other leg. Good. Maybe there's even a little bounce, a little play, a little movement. Hey, before you roll on the balls. Good. So depending on what you have, whether you have the dowel or the ball, you're just going to roll from the toes to the heel. And then you can play. You can play by rolling through a certain part of the foot, the outer edge of the foot. One thing with the two balls with the outer edge of the foot is you can pop your outer edge right in the center in between the two balls and roll. You can also do it with the inside as well. Yeah, it feels really good. It's a little bit different. Yeah, good. You can add a little bit of compression. And we all know each time we choose a different device to rolling out our feet, we get a little bit of a different release, right? Hmm. And I know for a long time it was like, I only use the dowel. I only wanted the dowel. And then now I'm like venturing out into different tools. So it's kind of nice just to feel that. And then you're just gonna roll as much as you need to on that first foot. So I'll be kind of finishing at different intervals, but just take that time to just feel the arms, and we're just going to do a little release through the hands and the arms again. We're doing a little bit more focus of thoracic body. So we're just going to interlace fingers. We're going to cross the palms of the hands forward. And as you do this, I want you to lean back through the shoulder blades. The head will just automatically fold to whatever it wants to do. And then I want you just to, as you keep pressing your hands forward, just move a little bit through the right shoulder blade and the left shoulder blade. So it might be lifting one up and then softening and maybe even open the arms a little bit. Okay, we're just going to release the hands from all that floor work. So doing that a couple times, then I want you to keep pressing the hands forward and all the way up so they start to face the ceiling. Now your thumb is going to not want to release, but I want you to try to reach the thumb up as well. See if you can get your ears right in between your shoulders. Ah, good. And then you're going to keep that. You're just going to look up, look forward, bringing your chin down. And we're going to do that again. Inhale, look up, look forward, and look down. Good. And then very slowly unlace the fingers. So you look forward and slowly just let the arms descend as if you had two helium balloons underneath your shoulders, your arms. And just notice once you get down to the bottom, does body just want to move a certain way? Okay, then we're going to anchor the foot that we just rolled, and we're going to roll out the other foot. Okay, so just checking in as you press down. lifting up, maybe the S sound, a little bit of play, and then rolling through the foot. Huh. I'm just seeing where you're getting guided on this side to roll. You've used the two balls before, haven't you? Maybe not on your feet. Yeah, on back. Yeah. Feet's nice. Yeah, it's nice on the feet, right? Yeah, the inner one, the yeah, the inner one, yeah, inner arch just in front of the heel. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, I get it right there too. At the very, it's that kind of meeting of the medial and the inner heel. Yeah, and it's nice because the two balls, that one ball, you can just kind of roll into it, and you just lean a little bit more into it, and it's got it. hmm I know in the fall I went for like 1 week and just made these balls for a while. Okay, so just take your time to finish the second side. Okay, we're just going to feel into body for a moment. Ah, so I want to release now the back of the legs. So we're going to go from warrior one into a pose that has a little bit of balance into it. So we're going to find the very top part of our mat, come up towards it. Feet are going to be hip width apart. Okay, and then just exhale, find a little softening of the knees. Yeah, just feel your feet. Ah, just gonna take a moment. So we anchor the weight into the toes and the heel. Good. And then I want you to just press that right foot a little bit more into the floor. We're going to lift left leg. So try not to jut the hip out, thinking that you're taking your hip bones. And as you exhale, maybe even an SH breath, you're pulling the hip bones towards the belly. Shh. And then you're lifting that leg. You're going to fold forward and then you're going to step it back 2 to 3 feet. Now you're going to walk either the right foot out a little bit more or step the left foot out. Okay, so just find a nice balance. Back foot's on a little bit of a 45. We're going to pull the right hip back so our hip bones are now facing straight ahead. Yeah. So you can take your left hip and pull it around towards me. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. And so you might find walking right foot out a little bit more. Good. Now try bringing it around and bringing the feet a tiny bit closer. There it is. Now, eventually, you want to try to get that hip. There it is. Yeah. Okay. And then bending the front knee. And then we're going to lift what we've been doing through pubic bone, lower belly, hip bones, upper belly. Okay. Reaching the arms up. Then I just want you to open them out. So if you're celebrating the sky, the earth, press into your feet, breathe, lift your heart. Soften your shoulders a little bit. Yeah, good. Okay, then we're going to bring arms down. You're going to straighten the front leg and you're going to touch the hips. So both legs are going to be straight now. And so you're pushing the feet into the floor and you're feeling the hip bones, the sit bones, they're going to reach back. And that's going to allow your torso to come forward. And then if you want, you can slide your hands down so you can have your right hand just very gently touch on top of the thigh or below the shin, but you're not resting on it. You're pushing the feet into the floor. You're reaching out your skull, the top of the head. You're reaching your sit bones back and a little bit up towards the ceiling. Yeah, good. Breathe here, feeling back of the leg. Now you're going to inhale, you're going to come up, and you're going to try to step as you lean into this front foot, which is your right. Just feel your left foot become light and just see, can you could just step it forward and just lift it up a little bit and then step down. There it is. Good. Excellent. Shake it up. Good job. Okay, let's do the other side. So we're going to feel now left leg stays forward, right? Okay, so lift up right foot. Feel that anchor. Lean forward, and then you're going to allow it to step back. Now, remember, sometimes we step back too far. So you only need to be about 3 to 3.5 feet for this one. So you can step forward, you can walk your left foot out so you feel wider sense. And then the right hip needs to come around. So you're facing straight ahead. Yeah, front knee bends. There it is. Now we're going to come up with the arms and then go into a cactus. Good. Now I want you just to feel, I'll turn around for this one, the bottom tips of your shoulder blades just squeezing towards the spine. So you feel a little activation of your back. Soften the shoulders, little squeezing in between the shoulder blades. Wiggle your fingers from time to time. Just feel the breath. 2 more rounds, just activating the rhomboids. Good, then we're going to inhale, reach it up through the arms and down so the hands come down to the hips. Then we'll inhale, exhale, press the feet into the floor as the pelvis and the sit bones reach back. And then you come down to where you want. So some of you might even feel, oh, I can let the arms dangle. Some of you can even touch the floor. Some of you might hold the shin or the ankle, but no pressure on the shin or the ankle. And you keep pulling back through the sit bones. There it is. Let your gaze rest down towards your shin a little bit more, just to lengthen the back of the neck. Yeah, good. 1 or 2 more breaths here. Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Nice. You're going to press down to come up. Now we're going to try to step forward. So as you press off the back foot, feel your left foot because you're going into a balance. Maybe a little up with the leg and then down. Good. Shake it out. Okay. So we haven't done that one too often, right? You really feel that stretch through the whole back line. Nice. So let's do a little release through shoulders before we finish off the standing. So we're going to inhale. We're going to draw the shoulders all the way up to the ears. We're going to roll them back. And then we're going to exhale, bend the knees, maybe let out a breath at the mouth. Inhale, draw them up. Roll them back. Exhale, let it go. Inhale. Exhale. Ah, 2 more. Ah. And then you're going to reverse directions. So if you're following with me, you were going back. Now you're going to go forward. Your shoulder blades will squeeze together. They're going to inhale up and forward. Good. Squeeze back. Inhale up, forward. Ah, back and up and forward. Ah, 1 more. Good. And then let's just draw the shoulders all the way up. Squeeze. And then just drop when you're ready with an exhale. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale. And let it go. Feel the inhale. And let it go. One last time. Okay. Good. Just take a moment. Feel into your body. See if you need any kind of inspirational movement or just stillness or just being here. So I want to do one last movement And we've done this one, it's been a while though. It's being called to come in, and it's kind of flowing off the physiological sigh that we did, which was 2 sips of inhale, right? So this one's going to be 3 sips of inhale. So you're going to go 3 sips in the nose and then out the mouth. Yeah. So let's do that again. 3 sips in the nose and out the mouth. Ah, good. So to coordinate with that breath, we're going to bring the arms together. So this is our mudra of gratitude. So the palms of the hands are facing up, pinky side of the hand. So this is your first sip of inhale. Yeah. Then you're going to open the arms up, lift your heart. Second sip. And then you're going to bring your arms back together and reach them up. That's your third sip. And then you're going to exhale, bend your knees. Okay, so let's try it all together. Inhale, arms forward, first sip. Inhale, open arms. Inhale, arms back together and up, third sip. And then exhale, let it go. Again, inhale, arms forward. Inhale, arms open. Inhale, arms back together and up. Let it go. Good. Let's try it again. Forward, out, together and up and down. Forward, out, together and up and down. One more. Forward, out, up, and release. Okay, now pause here. Just rest your forearms on your thighs, knees nice and bent. Just take a moment to let body equalize. Let's do a pursed breath out the mouth, pursing the lips, blowing the breath out the mouth. Feel your feet. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Feel your feet. Take a moment. If you need another pursed lip, do so. And then you're going to put one hand on your thigh, the other hand on your thigh. Guide yourself as you walk your hands up your thigh, up to standing. Breath of joy. Gives a little bit more prana, right? So sometimes we feel a little bit woozy, a little bit lightheaded, right? And that's just because we've increased our prana intake. And it takes a little bit for our nervous system to equalize. So we are going to transition to the floor now. So we're going to do it through a forward fold and come all the way down. So we're going to bring hands to heart, thumbs around the sternum. Feel your feet, toes and heel. See if you need another breath out the mouth. Slight bend of the knees. Soften the shoulders. Feel your whole body here. And we're going to exhale, release arms down by side. Our legs, press the feet into the floor, let the arms float up. Good. Exhale, come down into your forward fold. Even the weight on your feet as you're here. Good. So you have a choice. Do you want to step back into downward dog again? One foot, the other foot inverted V. Hey, you can pause here in downward dog. You can go straight into child's pose, coming down onto your shins and your feet. If you want to do one more little strengthening, you're going to push the hands into the floor, the right foot into the floor. See if you can bend the right knee and lift that left leg up off the floor. So the left leg's just a little bit in the air. Some of you might even be able to lengthen it and reach it towards the back wall. Then you rebend it and you bring left foot to the floor. Then you're going to press both hands, left foot into the floor. Let right foot become light. Lift the right foot off the floor with the knee bent. Some of you might extend it, reaching the heel towards the back wall. Good. And then bring it back and down. Good. Now you're going to come down into child's pose. Just take a moment. So we did a little roll to the crown of the head. We did a little walking the arms off to the side. So that might want to be revisited, or you just might want to slide your arms down beside you, palms up, and have the forehead on the floor. Just to let the shoulders fully let go. We're going to take one or two more breaths here. If you have your arms beside you, back of the hands on the floor, you're going to bring them up right underneath the shoulders. Press the palms of the hands into the floor. You're going to inhale, exhale, come up, roll onto one hip. Bring the legs around. So we are going to use, as we just locate our two balls and the inflated slow-mo ball. So just putting them beside you so you don't have to locate them. And then we're going to roll down. Okay, so just rolling down, chin towards chest. Once you come down to the floor, draw the knees into the chest. Give them a hug. Rock a little bit from left to right. We're going to widen the thighs as much as you want to. Take the hands and hold the back of the thighs as you lift your shins and your feet up. And you can decide, do I want to hold my ankles in baby pose? Do you want to keep holding the back of the thighs? I know some of you can grab hold of your feet and you can rock a little bit. Yeah. I always work on tools to regulate the nervous system in this class. And so if you want to just play here, you can. The other option is bringing your right heel towards your right buttocks and then extending as you lean over onto the left hip, extending through that left leg. And then you bend that left knee, bringing the left heel towards the left buttocks, rolling onto your right side, extending through right leg. And then you can flow a little bit from side to side if you choose. Or just stay in full baby pose. I always like to give the variation. Just adding a little bit more play. Feel the inhale as you pass through center, the exhale as you go to the other side. And when you're ready, you're going to release. Bring the feet onto the floor. You just want to do a little twist just to release the back. So I want you to have your feet the width of your mat. So that means both feet are just touching the outer kind of width of your mat. It's a little bit wider than hip width. And then your arms can be out to the side, palms down, a little bit away from the torso. Now you're going to inhale, exhale. You're going to lower the legs down to the left slowly. Let the right hip come up off the floor. You're going to weight the left hip. The head can turn to the left. Then you're going to feel the lower pubic bone, the lower belly, the hip bones lift up a little bit. Take an SH breath. Just feel the front rib cage knit together. Good. And just let that right thigh release. So some of you might even press your right big toe and your right inner heel a little bit into the floor, and you'll feel your right thigh lengthen a little bit. You might even feel that come all the way up into the psoas. And then you're going to soften the feet. You're going to roll the pelvis back onto the floor. The legs will follow and the head will follow as you come back into center. Then we're going to do the release on the other side. So you're going to inhale, exhale. Maybe use that SH breath as the legs go to the other side, the head. Heavy right side of the body through pelvis, right rib cage, right shoulder blade. And then if you choose, you can just rest there. You can press the big toe, the inner heel of that left foot a little bit into the floor, just to feel the left thigh open, the front of the hip crease open. Shoulders are soft. Some of you might be lifting up through the lower belly. I know I need to, just to keep more length in my back for myself. And you hold that for another breath or two. Then you're going to soften the feet, roll the pelvis back onto the floor. Head and legs come back into center. Good. So you're going to take the two balls. We're going to do a little shoulder release. So I'm going to sit up just so you can see this one with ease. Okay, you're going to put the balls The middle of the ball is going to go on the spine. And then each of the balls are going to be just on either side of the spine. So you can do kind of top of the shoulders. You can even go down a little bit. And you're just going to start with that. So you're just going to pop the balls underneath the top of the trapezius and then just rest down on it. Now, if it feels okay, you have different options here. So if you want, you can do a little lift by taking the chip foam block and just placing it under the pelvis. You can do a little bit bigger lift by taking your inflated slow-mo ball and putting it under your pelvis. So you're in modified bridge pose. So knees are bent. Yep. And it's going to put a little bit more pressure on your shoulders. And you can slide that ball down towards and between shoulder blades. If you need any support behind the head, let me know. I can bring you up more. Hmm. You can have the arms just by your side, or you can even inhale, reach the arms up, fingers point to the ceiling and reach back and over. You can just do that up and down with the arms, or you can hold as you bring the arms up, fingers point towards the ceiling. You can bend the elbows, right hand can take left elbow, and left hand can take right elbow. You can do what is called the back sit arm. You can just gently move around here. Yeah, let me know if you need anything. Uh, there it is. Um, do you want a softer ball? Is it too much on the shoulders? I think so. It feels strong, right? Yeah. So if you do a semi-inflated snowball ball, right, then it won't be as much. Yeah, right. So then you can feel, oh yeah, it's less pressure. Yeah, less pressure. Yeah. So I could feel as you were like going through. I was like, you just need a little bit less pressure. Yeah, and then you can kind of, which is cool, because then you can push and roll, and then you can go, oh, I want to go down the spine. Yeah. And you can just take a couple more breaths there. And then if you want, you can always pull it out and check in, hey, as you rest. And then just see, do my hips want a ball to go underneath it for a few breaths? You can do a little bit of hip rolling under one ball. You can do a figure four, which is right ankle on the thigh. Or you can stay exactly where you are. Yeah, good. So you can take that out. Yeah, perfect. So you can have one ball underneath the hips and just have the legs, the feet on the floor, the knees bent, and just roll the hips from left to right, and then a little wiper. Yeah, there you go. Uh-huh. That one felt good. You can even use the two balls too. That one felt good. Like I think there's more in your back for you that your body was saying, oh, yeah. Yeah, I could feel that as you were rolling it and you were kind of dropping into it. I was like, yeah, there's some more in there for you. Yes. Okay. A lot of, okay. I'll keep bringing in some thoracic release then. Yeah. It's always, I think a lot of us have a little thoracic. Yeah. There you go. So some of you are doing the neck release, and you can if you want, but you can stay in hips as well. But if you remember neck release, it's putting the 4 inch block behind your head, and then you put the two balls on top of that block. I can always help you if you're going to go into it. Most of you are in hips, so. Mhm. Good. We're just going to use this to end our class. Take a few breaths out the mouth. Haven't switched sides and you're doing hips, you do want to switch sides. Hmm. Good. And then just check in if you are done. Is there anything else you need before you go into your final pose of resting? If you want to use the ball rolling as your time and still stay there for the release and that pose of integration, feel free. But if you do want to put the bolster underneath the legs or even under the pelvis and extend the legs in the air, or just lie flat on the floor is another option. Yeah. Once you come down into that release, you can take a few breaths out the mouth. Maybe it's a sigh, maybe it's a pursed lip breath. Oh, yeah. And take this time to feel the integration percolating inward as you notice how you felt when you first arrived into practice today. As the sensations that you felt in body shifted, as the nervous system feeling a little bit more fluid, resting, a little bit more of a state of homeostasis. So whenever we flow breath and movement, we freed the thoracic body a little bit more today, which we're going to bring in. And that's sometimes really helpful to allow the breath to feel a little bit more freedom, especially in between the ribs and the shoulder blades and wrapping around through the rib cage to the front. The poem that came to be shared today is by Donna Ashworth, and it's called Joy Chose You. And I will share it with the recording. Joy does not arrive with a fanfare on a red carpet strewn with flowers of a perfect life. Joy sneaks in as you pour a cup of coffee, watching the sun hit your favorite tree just right. And you usher your joy away because you're not ready for it. Your house is not as it must be for such a distinguished guest. But joy cares nothing for your messy home or your waistline, you see. Joy is supposed to slither through the cracks of your imperfect life. That's how joy works. You cannot truly invite her. You can only be ready when she appears. And hug her with meaning, because in this very moment, joy chose you. Take a couple more minutes here. Just in this last minute, I just want you to feel the weight of your body on the floor. Notice which parts are in contact with the floor, your mat, the earth. And see if you can sink and find and increase that heaviness into the floor. And then just watch the flow of your breath as it enters your body, and your body responds by expanding. And then as the breath softly releases from body, and the body gently gathers through belly and ribs. So there's an expansion when you receive your inhale, an opening, a widening, and then a softening of a gathering, and sometimes even a little bit of ease of release. So just flow back and forth as you watch this wave of your breath expanding you. Inhale, revitalize, and exhale, softening, maybe offering a release. There's this ebb and flow that's happening through body, nourishing mind, body simultaneously all the time. It happens in the background because your breath is autonomic. But at times, you can shine the light of your awareness on your breath and just watch it, feel it, be present with it. This is what it means to feel mindful, to create moments of meaning and mindfulness in your life. This is when that kind of quality of joy just comes in. And you're just going to start to wiggle fingers and toes. Feel yourself as you are and notice, do I need some specific movements through my body right now? Is your body calling for a stretch or draw the legs in or something different? As you start to awaken here, and then you'll release any support that you don't need and roll over to one side and come up and sit for a moment. If you can sit with the legs crossed, or if you want, you can be even in a butterfly pose or the legs extended, whatever you choose. And we're just going to let the arms release the side, palms face forward. Just let an exhale out the mouth. On. And then we're going to inhale, arms up just to the height of the shoulders, maybe even a little bit back. And then exhale and give ourselves a hug. And just take a moment here just to let the body receive the hug, this act of compassion that we end with in this class. Just allowing a little bit of softness and heartfelt awareness towards self. And then just see which arm is on top. You'll inhale and you're going to open your arms again, maybe a little bit back. And then this time, giving yourself a hug again and wrapping the other arm on top. Good. And then we'll just feel that opening out. And then this time, just bringing the palms of the hands together. Just feel the heart. Taking a few breaths here as we feel palm to palm. Widen the shoulder blades. Lift the heart center gently. Just feel your gaze as your eyes open. Look straight ahead. Mm, thank you. for sharing your practice today.